Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we are discussing Black Swan. Stick around until the end. We'll be talking about our top 4 favorite birds.
The year 2010. The month December. The number 1 song in the country, Firework by Katy Perry. A modern classic. In sports news, Cam Newton just won the Heisman Trophy at the University of Auburn before going on to win the national championship and then get drafted number 1 by the Carolina Panthers. And on the week this movie came out, or first was released in theaters, the final episode of Larry King Live aired on CNN. The end of an era, to say the least. The movie we're talking about today, Black Swan, the story of Nina, a ballerina in a New York City ballet company whose life, like all those in her profession, is completely consumed with dance. She lives with her retired ballerina mother, Erica, who zealously supports her daughter's professional ambition. When artistic director Thomas Leroy decides to replace prima ballerina Beth McIntyre for the opening production of their new season, Swan Lake, Nina is his first choice. Directed by Darren Aronofsky and starring Natalie Portman, Mila Kunis, Vincent Cassel, and Winona Ryder. This movie had a budget of $13 million, and it debuted at a small scale, only to about 18 theaters, where its average per theater was the second best of the year, behind The King's Speech, the eventual Best Picture winner. This movie went on to gross $330 million at the box office. Fantastic returns. This movie was received very well critically, with an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 79% on Metacritic. Featured in many critics' top 10 lists at the end of the year, this movie went on to be nominated for 5 Academy Awards, winning 1. It won Best Actress for Natalie Portman, and it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, and Best Editing, losing each of those to The King's Speech, Inception, and The Social Network, respectively.
Thank you. Geoff. No, Ben. Why don't you tell us your history?
What a
Curveball. A little White Swan, Black Swan action there. Jeez.
Tell us your history.
I remember this movie coming out partly because in my lifetime, have had crushes on both Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis. So I definitely remember when this was like a thing and being in the Oscar contention and stuff. And I knew it was about ballet and I knew it was dark. And that's about all I did know.
All right. What about you, Geoff?
So, a funny story with this movie. I've only seen this once, and it was in the back of a van driving from San Diego to Los Angeles. I was context
with a gun to my head.
Context. I was on a trip to California with my business college, and it was my freshman year. We took our spring break trip out to the West Coast to explore and hang out with alumni, tour their places of employment, learn more about the corporate world. And we started in San Diego and ended in Los Angeles. So driving from San Diego to LA is a long one. It's a boring one. So somebody had downloaded a copy of Black Swan to their computer and said, hey, let's watch this, the new movie that came out. So that's how I watched it for the first time, on a small laptop, all hunched around it in a passenger van.
Just as Darren Aronofsky wanted.
Exactly. A movie nominated for Best Cinematography. Just what they wanted. So Yeah, that was the only time I had seen it. I actually tried to watch it, I think probably 3 years ago now, but I ended up not watching it because I remembered it being creepy and was like, you know what? I'm not in the mood to watch this movie right now. So I didn't. And sadly put it off until tonight.
Question.
Yes.
Was everyone on your trip, was it all guys?
No.
Okay.
Mostly girls.
Okay. Never mind.
I know I was picturing a guy's trip too, and I was like, Black Swan's kind of an odd choice for that setting.
Well, I was actually going to say quite the opposite because I feel like when this came out, I feel like all the guys that I knew were going to see this because
Well, but not
I
for
wonder
like
why.
artistic reasons.
Yeah, so I saw this movie. I don't think I saw it in theaters. I think I probably rented it at Blockbuster or Family Video, whichever one was around at that point. And I really don't know what possessed me to rent this because it's not a movie I would typically choose to watch and especially watch on my own and at home. But I did, in fact, see it. And I just remember, again, every guy in my life obsessing over this movie and talking about that scene. So, Geoff, what is your score for Black Swan?
I It's a movie that I had to think about a lot during it, and I've still thought a lot about after it. Was a riveting experience chronicling the struggles of perfection in the arts while constantly battling every side of yourself, working through every up and down, and pushing yourself to the absolute limit with a magnificent performance in the middle from Natalie Portman. I'm going to give this movie a 4.25.
Okay. What about you, Ben?
I think this was a movie that I appreciated more than liked. I think it was well done. I was hoping to like it a little more than I did, but I still think it was impressive. I'm gonna give it a 4.
All right. And I very much like this movie. I think it's impressive in a lot of ways, and it definitely had me enthralled. So I'm going to give it a 4.75.
Nice. All right, drum roll, please. We'll figure out where this ends up here in our rankings.
Gotta be pretty high.
It's pretty high, all right. It is currently tied with Pulp Fiction for the number 4 spot
All right.
of our season to date. Well deserved.
I've had a couple high ones the past few weeks.
We have. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And we have the Fast and the Furious.
Exactly.
Eligible for the bottom 3 or 3 or below.
Yeah.
I have to say, every movie I've ever watched about ballet or ballerinas, just it's a hard no for me. Like nothing about the life of ballet seems appealing. None of it. Not one.
I was going to
aspect.
ask, like, have you guys ever gone to the ballet or like, because like my extent of ballet is like when they include it in a musical theater show, or like there's some old Rodgers and Hammerstein stuff that have ballets in them, or movies and TV shows. Like I've never like gone to the ballet.
Yeah, same. I have musical theater experience with seeing it, but yeah, I've always wanted to go see like the Nutcracker or something at Christmas just to do it, but haven't. So no, I've never actually seen ballet in real life.
Same. I'm always so impressed with it, but yeah, I've never actually sought it out. This might be my inspiration to actually do so. As long as I know that the director of it and the choreographer of it isn't a creep. As long as that's not the case, we're good.
And I also feel like every time there's ever been a ballet storyline on a TV show or property, it is always Swan Lake. Like, and it's always that dun 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 dun. Like,
The one thing that us commoners can recognize.
I was gonna say it's like so common with, and anytime I hear that, by the way, I think of a chorus song I sang, or maybe, yeah, I think I sang in elementary school, where you like different lyrics to like a famous medley. And like, so like my first association with this song is not the classical music version. It's us singing, "Don't make me go to school today. Mom, don't make me go to school." I could keep going, but I won't.
That's pretty funny.
That's good.
I will say though that like Natalie Portman, I think, was like perfect casting as a ballerina.
So perfect.
Like she
Mhm.
very much has that look and that demeanor, I feel like,
Mhm.
especially at that time.
Yeah. This is
Definitely.
coming just a few years. How many years now? About 5 years or so after the final Star Wars movie she did. So she's in kind of that quote unquote serious acting phase because I know she was a child actor and then got cast in the Star Wars franchise. And then when she finished there, then she went and did movies like V for Vendetta. She did The Other Boleyn Girl. So The Other Woman. So this was one of the sort of like the peak of in terms of her like okay she's gonna make it as like this is her serious sort of time and she nails it, she nails that opportunity. So and then she goes back into sort of the franchise world with the Thor movies. So yeah, it's really was perfect casting.
Have you
Yeah.
seen? Oh, I'm sorry, Amanda. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I read that she met with the director originally in 2000 and he proposed this role to her, but the script like sat in production hell for a really long time, or I guess not even production. So it took a really long time. He was also trying to scrape together money to actually make the movie. And she kept telling him that she was interested, but she was like, I'm not going to be able to play a dancer for very much longer, which I mean, really. She could probably still play the same character today. But yeah, she kept teasing him about that. And she did lose like 20 pounds for this role, which is insane. I read that she was around 98 pounds. She tried to
Wow.
stay around
Jeez.
that. And I guess the filming kept getting delayed. Like at the end, like it kept getting pushed out to reshoot different things, and she would just like yell at her agent because she was like living off like celery sticks and almonds and she
Oh,
was like
jeez.
so angry because she like couldn't eat. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to be a ballerina, y'all.
Mm.
Oh no. I think they do a really good job, especially early on in the movie, depicting what we all as non ballet people think of when it comes to the trials and tribulations of ballet. Waking up and every part of your body is cracking. Your toes are all messed up in every direction. And you really feel it throughout the entirety of the movie about how troubling this is, how strenuous this is, how tough this is. And yeah, so I believe it. Plus, she
What?
was probably like 28 or so when this was filmed. So 27, 28. So
She's
still,
ancient for a ballerina.
right?
What do you think it is about ballet that like, why is this always like a thing with ballet? Like, there's a lot of other athletes and
Hmm.
dancers, and like, there's a lot of other strenuous, demanding fields, but I feel like ballet is always like the most severe.
Probably because of the
Tradition.
tradition.
What?
Probably
Tradition.
maybe the focus on just one body part. The whole like you're putting so much pressure on the toes and your legs, and as a result, maybe that is why that's like the one thing that you need to focus on whenever you're doing ballet. It's not like in sports where every muscle group is being targeted, but in ballet, it's predominantly your feet, your lower legs. So maybe that's why. I don't know.
Yeah, I think of it like, I don't know, there's just some things, right? Like being like ballet or being a model or something where it's like, or are you talking about more the physicality of it?
No, I was talking about like the pressures and the,
Oh, okay. Yeah. It just seems like that's just how it is and how it's always been and how it will always be.
and it is always depicted as having like these tyrannical directors and
Hmm.
sometimes moms or things like that. Like
Big time.
I wonder
Because
like
it's art.
I well, so is a lot of other things, and I feel like this is like the most severe version. I wonder though, like in the current era, like post Me Too, like kind of body positivity stuff, like how much of that is still prevalent or how much of it like doesn't get said out loud in the ballet world. But I imagine it's still prevalent. It's just how overtly prevalent is it?
Yeah. I mean,
If
I would
ballerinas are
assume.
listening, you can give us a holler.
DM us all the deets. We want to hear the juicy secrets.
We won't share your name.
All anonymous. I would assume it's still pretty prevalent, like you said.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you want to be a star, baby, you got to do what it takes to get to the top.
My biggest critique of this movie was that I felt like I had a hard time throughout knowing what was real and what wasn't.
I find that to be a
Which
I
plus.
think that's on purpose.
I'm sure it's on purpose. I don't like it. Like I can be for unreliable narrators or kind of freaky, unexplained things happening, but I don't like when I don't know what's supposed to be real life and what's supposed to be fantasy. And I feel like it was not clear to me at times in this movie.
I agree. There were many times that I would make a comment to Geoff and then be like, "Oh, just kidding, that wasn't real."
Same.
And then like at the very end, he was like, "Oh, she stabbed herself." And I was like, "No, I think it's just symbolism that she killed the her innocence and the white swan part of her." And then obviously she comes to the black swan and then she goes back to the white swan and she's like bleeding out and I was like, "Okay, just kidding. That part actually was real."
I know that's the thing. Like it seemed like it was all not real at the end, and then it turns out some of it was. Like it's
Yeah, I don't know. And I read something online too that said maybe like her at the very end that wasn't actually real, that she wasn't actually like dying, like bleeding out. It was again just like symbolism that she had killed the white swan slash innocent part of her. But I don't know. It seemed real because all the other people were like, get an ambulance.
Well, that's fair too, because we see the White Swan part of her. She's most alive during that whole end sequence while she is the Black Swan. So maybe that is the case. I don't know. Maybe it's
Jeff,
just
why
her mind.
why do you think it's a plus?
I think it's a plus. Well, for me, it keeps me on my toes and tries to think about.
Like a ballerina.
Ben, you're so
Hey.
witty. You're so creative. I love it. No, I think it's a good thing because it almost lets us into our main character's mind. I guess our protagonist's mind more and opens up the door to multiple interpretations of it and trying to think that, okay, what is actually happening? What is actually going on? And almost like it opens us up to a part of the movie that only we can see as the viewer, that no one else can see, no other character can see, no one else can realize except for the protagonist and us. And I like that. I like being on my toes a little bit there. And when you start to blend the ideas in your mind between what's real and what's not, like that's trippy. And you don't know what's real and what's not sometimes. And that is exciting. I know for me, there are definitely times where sometimes I let things I'm thinking about in my mind out, like I start speaking about it or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's not actually happening or whatever. So I like the choice there because A, it lets us into a certain point that not every character can see, and B, I think adds an extra layer of depth to the movie in a way that I like.
I would agree with you. I think that where I noticed that the most prominently was with the Lily character, like having that view into Nina's mind because you I feel like Lily, you would see her like doing something right and you'd be like, "Oh, you be like, how dare you do that?" And then the next minute like she's really nice and you're like, "Wait, no." And so having that like conflicting view of Lily back and forth between like what Nina was thinking versus what she was actually seeing was really interesting.
Right. Like the idea of the post-bar scene where Nina tells her mom off and then takes Lily to her room and sleeps with her. That's almost like a fantasy. That's like a dream when you realize, like, wait, that didn't actually happen. Like, yeah, it again caught me off guard. And again, it added that extra layer to the movie of, okay, now she's real. Now we're really crossing over into something weird.
Well, and I looked this up because I was curious. Like, there are theories and interpretations that I feel like are legit of like, is Mila Kunis' character even real in this at all? Like, is she even a real person in this movie? Apparently, the consensus is yes, but it is a question. Like, if you type in "is Mila Kunis" into Google, you're gonna get "real" and Black Swan as one of your first suggestions.
That's funny. I never even considered her not being real.
Same.
I think there
Especially,
were some real parts of their interactions. Like, I don't think the whole bar scene was fake. Like, I think she went out for drinks with her, like for real. And I think she told her mom off. I don't think,
You don't think?
obviously, she didn't sleep with Lily, and I don't think Lily came back to her apartment. I think when she ran out with that guy, she was in the bathroom making out with that guy and she ran out. I think everything with, like, I don't think Lily actually like stopped her and like took a cab with her or anything. I
But
think
see,
she
it's
just
not
went home.
totally clear. You know what I mean? I feel like
No,
you could
it's
take the
definitely not.
interpretation that, like, I
right.
don't know. And
Yeah. And the only reason that I think it's real is just because of Nina's mom's actions and like what she says, because she's like, you're going crazy, like you're not my daughter and everything. So I feel like she would have had to have really like told her mom off for her to have that type of reaction.
Have her break down one in her art room as she's painting, still painting pictures of her, which that whole element of the movie too, like that has a whole other layer with the pressures of she's living at home because she probably can't afford to keep up what she's doing in New York, which, and again, pausing again, side note, this is another movie. I've been on a weird run lately of movies of like New York City is gross. A bunch. I've watched some Sean Baker movies. I've watched some older movies from the Safdie brothers, Josh and Benny Safdie. And those guys do a really good job of featuring a side of New York that I don't want to say wanted to see, but I didn't really know existed or didn't really care about existing. But this is a whole element of like, hey, you can't really get by. And so you need to live in this flat with your mom. And when you find out that she is a former ballerina herself and she couldn't quite make it because Nina came into her life, it adds a whole other layer of the pressures and the being driven to insanity and just everything else with this movie. It is so layered and so unbelievable that, yeah, I don't blame her for having that breakdown eventually at the end.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Her mom was toxic though,
very toxic.
especially the part where she brought a giant cake to celebrate her getting the part, which, like, come on, girl. You were a ballerina. Like, you really think your daughter's going to eat that cake? And then when she's like, Mom, not such a big slice. And then she's like, fine, it's garbage. And I'm like, oh, what a toxic parent. Like, gaslighting to the extreme. Well, I guess it's not gaslighting, but whatever.
It was almost weirdly like two things. One, she wanted to keep her daughter as like almost like a child, and I don't want to say infantilizing her, but almost trying to keep her like young and her baby. And then two, didn't want her to upstage her at any point. So yeah, I'm gonna feed you crappy food when I know from personal experience that I would never do that as a ballerina. I'm gonna keep you home the night of your big performance because you're not feeling well, when I would never have done the same. Now, you don't know if she's doing that for healthy reasons and being like, no, this is bad. Take it from me. This is a bad experience. But everything leading up to that point in the movie seems to suggest that she doesn't want her daughter ever leaving her, upstaging her, whatever.
the thing that was interesting was there were three real distinct stories, and they all connected, but in terms of the mother, in terms of Lily, was that Mila Kunis' character?
Yes.
And in terms of the director, that I feel like all could have been their own movie. And like,
For
it
sure.
could have been entirely about the creepy director, could have been entirely about the rivalry and friendship, and it could have been entirely a mother-daughter story.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I think, with the mother. I felt like there's a lot more there that I'm like, I want to like dig more into this and get more information, especially like you said,
Yes,
Geoff,
it
about
should have
the
been a TV
paintings.
show.
Hey, they could still make a TV show if
Still
they
can,
wanted
they
to.
might.
Who knows? Anything's possible.
Yeah, because she knows the staff at the theater company by name. She's like, "Oh, I talked to Susie, and she said you were working late." So maybe she was a part of that exact company. Maybe she worked with Thomas Leroy at some point. Who knows? Thomas. Oh, the way they said it, I was like, ugh, barf.
A creep.
Though I
So
will,
much sexual assault in this movie.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's a whole other like though I will say a lot of his notes were real interesting in terms of like what he was telling Nina throughout. Things such as if I was only casting the White Swan, she'd be yours. And talking about, hey, who can be both sides, the White Swan and the Black Swan, trying to come up with that idea about being more than just, what you are in the image. And yeah, Nina would be the perfect White Swan at one point when she's doing the practicing and the warming up in the room. The one assistant comes up to her, is like, oh, perfect technique. Just relax. Just relax. And that's such a perfect example of that sort of main character, that White Swan. But yeah, his notes throughout it are just, it's really interesting. I was telling her, like, don't worry so much about technique. I never care about your technique. Just let it flow. Now, granted, I don't know whether it's obviously a combination of him lusting for her and also he wants this to be something special and something different and whatever, and truly like an artist. I don't know. And I don't know why I'm even trying to give grace to a sexual assaulter, choreographer, whatever. But yeah, it was really interesting watching him interact with the company and this production and some of the notes that he gave.
Well, and I feel like generally, because there's been a lot of people in those kind of positions of power that obviously have abused it.
Yes.
And I do think you're onto something, Geoff, in the sense of like, it's like a weird, okay, granted, none of it is acceptable. Let me just
Yes.
be clear about that. But it's like a
Let
weird
it be
mix
clear,
of,
we
like,
are an anti-sexual
Yes, we are
assault
not.
podcast.
The thing that, like, I feel like when it happens in these settings is it's like a weird mix of your standard creep, but
Mhm.
also meets like the kind of paternal, like how they see themselves as like this caretaker and this like guiding them to success. And I think there's a lot of justification in their own mind, however sick and twisted it is, more than just like somebody who's just like trying to just
Yeah.
get some, you know what I mean? Like, and again, neither one is okay, neither one is acceptable. But I do think it's like this, I think it's almost a weird thing that goes on with those positions sometimes. And I think partly probably to how close and how physical and how everything it is, like, again, no justifying it, but I think that's why we see it happen a lot in that setting.
Definitely.
Right. Yeah, I think he saw it from the view of like you said, outside of wanting to actually get with her, because I think he did.
Right.
He saw it as like, well, I'm teaching her, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
she needs to unlock this part of herself. And
Right.
I mean, I guess if I'm gonna give this dude credit, like he didn't actually sleep with her at any point, which is interesting because I feel like he was presented with several opportunities. So I guess he gets a half a kudo. I don't know. But
Half a kudo.
but also like
I don't know
just,
about that.
just so inappropriate when he like asked that random dancer, he's like, hey, would you sleep with her? And the guy's like, "Nah." Which turns out that's Natalie Portman's husband, I guess.
Oh.
I guess they met on the set of Black Swan, but
Those are
that's him.
almost people like that are almost like the worst kind of offenders though, because of the trust they build up.
Oh yeah, for
Yep,
sure.
like it's
And the position of power, right? Like
Yeah.
she can't do anything because she doesn't
Right.
want to lose her spot in the leading role.
And this brings up when Nina calls her mom to tell her that she got the part. She never said, I got the part. She said, he picked me. And she says it on the phone. So there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
They're all trying to yearn for that wanting.
Right.
Being because of the industry that they're in. It's cutthroat.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and after she got the part, like how much time alone did he spend with her?
Right.
So it's like, of course, you could see like the other girls probably want and like crave that time too, because they don't get to spend hardly any time with him, and not from like a sexual perspective, but just from having that close relationship and being able to gain knowledge and direct notes from the director or whatever. Like that's valuable. And They all
Yeah.
want that.
And you can see how many of them it's like from her perspective too, like they see it as like what they need to advance their career. And then for it to be taken advantage of is just
Yeah.
happens all the time, but it's sad.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know the story
Like
of
I'd say like there's a lot of stereotypes here with like the overbearing mother and the creepy director, but yet like I feel like it happens so often.
it does.
It's just real life.
You feel so bad for Beth. You know, when Winona Ryder, who I forgot she was in this movie, and
yeah, when she first, I was like, "Is that Winona Ryder?"
Yep.
I was like not prepared for her.
Like, wait a second.
Didn't have to dance at all. Yeah, she definitely didn't accidentally walk into the street and get hit by traffic. Definitely not.
And what's really sad is the first thing Nina does when going to visit her hospital room is look at her legs and see like, oh no, she can't dance anymore. Basically.
Her career is over anyways. How old was she?
Yeah. She was just a few years from being the mom in Stranger Things. She was getting older.
Over the hell. Okay, so we gotta talk about like the finger and like the slight body horror in this movie.
The times with the finger mannequin test, I was just clicking my pen like crazy. I was like, I wasn't even taking notes. Like I was just like kept clicking it as I was like, oh no. I think that must be my new like nervous, I don't want to say a tick, but I'm like, uh-oh. Like something's about to happen, so I'm going to start clicking my pen like crazy.
That's going to start bringing like a pack of pens to the movie theater.
Yup.
Okay, so I did not watch the finger scene this time around, but I know I watched it the first time I watched this movie.
Because you didn't know it was coming.
Yeah, that. And it has scarred me. Like anytime I have a hangnail, this movie comes to mind and I'm like, oh, what if I peel it all the way back? Like it's like Final Destination. It just leaves like an imprint on your mind that you just can't get rid of no matter how hard you try.
Nah. It was brutal. Yeah. Thankfully, when it was shown from farther away, so you're not like looking like straight at the finger on the camera, thankfully. So either way, you can still hear the peeling as it's coming off, and ugh.
Yeah, I had to plug my ears. I was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Sometimes the sounds get me, I think, almost as much as like the sight of it does. Like when I close my eyes and I'm like, oh, I don't like the sound. But yeah, I didn't think the rest of the quote unquote body horror stuff that was in here was like too bad. Like it didn't, I don't know. None of the other stuff really grossed me out.
Like the feathers.
Her growing feathers.
Yeah.
Her legs breaking into
like bird legs.
Bird legs.
I was gonna say when she fell in the room, I was like, whoa. It wasn't that gross, but it was like
oh snap.
Like jarring.
I was laughing because her legs looked so silly.
You like play it with a laugh track, like one of those recut trailer things.
Black Swan is a comedy.
Oh no.
A rom-com. Oh yeah. But
I was amazed, speaking of the feathers, I was amazed during the Black Swan dance sequence when her body starts normal and then eventually starts just adding feathers throughout it. I was very impressed with how that scene enveloped. I was like, oh, this is nice. This is cool to see. And her becoming the swan on stage was really impressive.
It definitely was, considering it was, like you said, a quote unquote like low budget kind of film. I don't think it looks bad at all. I think that is partly because of the way that he filmed it to have kind of that grainier like feel to it. I think you get a lot of like forgiveness in there, I think, with the special effects. I know at some points her skin was a little bit like not scaly, but like
scaly.
Whatever. Yeah. And there were a couple times when it was just starting. I was like, is that just like the graininess or does her skin actually look different? Like I couldn't really tell. But I was very impressed with Natalie Portman as the Black Swan at the end. Like I was like, holy freaking cow. She really did transform into a completely different person, a completely different dancer. And it was like breathtaking. I was like, wow, I'm so glad she won the Oscar for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was she against? I was gonna ask that.
I'll tell you
Which,
in a
by the way,
second.
I looked her up, and she. Speak of Jamie Lee Curtis being younger than we thought. Natalie Portman's still only 44.
How is that even possible?
Like, like she's been around for forever.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like she's only 6 years older than me.
It's incredible. Her first notable roles were two pretty prominent movies, Leon the Professional and Heat. So she was a child actor right from the get.
Yeah.
And then got cast in the prequel Star Wars movies shortly after those.
Fun fact, that was the only way my friends could get me to go see Star Wars was because I thought Natalie Portman was hot.
All right.
And it's
That's
the
like the
only
worst one.
episode 2 is the only one I've seen. Thank you, Natalie Portman. Wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it, even Natalie being in it.
So before I read the best actress in a leading role from that year, when her skin is there and you see all of the bumps and stuff, I immediately thought of, because there was a few years ago, 2018, Marvel released the movie Black Panther, and their villain, Killmonger, has skin that is very bumpy and like almost not scaly, but I think he did something when like every kill that he made, he put like a body thing in his body or whatever. So it looks like he's just covered in like scales and bumps. And it triggered a bunch of people's phobias. I looked it up. It was tripe, which is an aversion to the sight of repetitive patterns or clusters. So I'm wondering if people who had the same deal also got affected by a lot of those scenes. Thankfully not me, but I could see it. Okay, so Natalie Portman beat Annette Bening for The Kids Are All Right, Nicole Kidman for Rabbit Hole, a movie I've never heard of, Jennifer Lawrence for her breakthrough movie Winter's Bone, and Michelle Williams for Blue Valentine.
Okay.
Never heard of any of those movies.
Feels like she would have been the front runner there.
I'm doing a quick glance here. I'm going to the Wikipedia page for Black Swan and looking through the accolades. So, yeah, Academy Awards, she won Best Actress. The BAFTAs, the big British Film Awards, she won Best Actress. Let's see here, the Golden Globe Awards, she won Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. Pretty much everything I'm seeing that featured she did not win Best Female Performance at the MTV Movie Awards that year.
Sad.
I know, right?
It probably went to, I don't even know.
Mila.
I'm about to look it up. She
Probably
won
went to, what's her name from Twilight?
She won at the SAG Awards. She lost to Kristen Stewart for the Twilight Saga Eclipse.
Oh, see, you nailed it. I called it.
Oh,
That
no.
was at the SAG Awards?
No, that was at the MTV Movie Awards.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna
No.
say.
She
I
won.
totally called it without even looking.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, so she won a lot of I assume she was probably the heavy favorite going into.
Yeah, it seems like it. Deservedly.
Right. She also won at the Critics' Choice Awards, but yeah, the MTV Movie Awards did not name her the winner that year.
Their loss.
I guess so.
It's a little too serious for the MTV Movie Awards.
Kristen Stewart was a 3-time winner. She won each year in for the role of Bella Swan in 2009, 2010, and 2011.
Wow.
Ooh, but not for the other two.
Not for the other two.
Good for her.
They turned on her for Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2.
So they just said she wasn't eligible at that point. Who knows?
Yeah.
One thing I did want to bring up was I was immediately struck by two things with this movie. One, the filming style. I think I can completely understand why this movie was nominated for Best Cinematography and Best Editing. I think there are some incredible shots, especially of the dance sequences. A lot of sequences without cuts, a lot of sequences that are very fast paced, a lot of rapid camera movement that you can tell was very rehearsed going into each of those shots, which was incredibly impressive. I felt like, side note, I'm upping my score to a 4.5. Not to a 4.25. I felt like during those scenes that I was just like, oh my gosh, this is
allowed
insane.
to do that, Geoff.
I'm bending the rules for this. So like during those sequences, I was like, oh my goodness, like a camera person is never spotted. So I know it could be edited out in post, but also I know that it takes some technique to make sure that you don't get seen. And with all of the mirrors and everything like that around, it was very impressive in terms of not being captured on screen during those sequences. So big shout out to the camera crew there. And then second thing, speaking of mirrors, was the use of mirrors and looking through glass very heavily throughout the scene, right from the get-go. I know for something like the performing arts that there's a large element in terms of how you look and how you compare to other people. And so this movie was a lot of that. It was a lot of, hey, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, making sure that I look picture perfect, I look pristine. I'm looking at mirrors trying to spy on everybody else. I'm catching myself looking through the glass, trying to observe other people that are catching my eye. So there's a lot of that sort of play going on and a feeling of those anxieties building onto how the characters are feeling during this movie that I found to be quite impressive. That initially I was like, I don't know if this is ham-fisted a little bit, but then as it was kept playing on with the movie, I was like, nope, this is perfect. This makes sense. Even when she's looking at herself in the mirror and she sees her reflection doing something different, it's almost like she's seeing a different part of herself just in the mirror herself, or something that she almost either wanted to see or didn't want to see reflected there at the same time. So I thought a lot of the techniques around that all were very impressive. So again, understandable why it was given the non-Best Picture award nominations that it got.
Agreed. All right. I just have two last kind of funny things I want to point out. They're not really funny. But question number one for all you ballerinas out there listening: why do ballet shoes not come pre-destroyed? Like, every ballet thing I've ever seen, they get ballet shoes and then they immediately destroy them. They burn the ends, they scratch up the bottoms, they tear out the soles, they break them and twist them, whatever. Why don't they just sell them like that if everyone's gonna mess them up anyways?
Maybe everybody has their own things they want to do to them, like their own method of destroying and their own ways of breaking it in.
I feel like it hurts a little bit because those have to be expensive. And it's like you're just unboxing these brand new shoes and then like rip it apart and burn it and sew whatever straps they were sewing on. Like, dang. Okay.
For real.
My second thing is, who clips fingernails with scissors? Who does that? I don't even, is it even possible? Like, well, my nails are painted, so it wouldn't be possible. My nails are too strong. But like, I don't know. That's next level psycho behavior right there.
It's crazy.
I bite my nails, so I can't answer that.
You're like, my teeth are the scissors.
I mean, I know you said, and I'm sorry to bring it back to a more serious thing. At one point, you said that maybe it's something that you do for babies, but
have you ever clipped Charlie's fingernails with scissors?
No, my wife has bit his fingernails herself, which is like, she was grossed out by it, but it's like a lot less of he's sleeping, like a lot less of a fight than using. And then we have like baby clippers.
Okay. Yeah.
Which are different from adult clippers, but not scissors.
Hold on. I'm going to look this up. Can you cut fingernails with scissors? You can. It's not recommended.
I feel like if you're not like cutting them like you cut a piece of paper, you know what I mean? Like if you're using like the inside, like all the way down on it, and you're going dully with it, like, I guess, like, why not? But like,
I don't know. Gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't like that.
I'm not gonna start doing it. I'm just saying I feel like it's not that different if you're using them in the same way.
Yeah, I don't know.
What really makes clippers different from the duller parts of scissors?
The fact that they're curved. I think that's what freaks me out about the scissors, because a nail clipper has the curve that goes with.
But I'm just thinking, like, if you put your nail, this is real good, real solid podcasting here. If you put your nail like all the way at the like V of the scissors, and then you just kind of like curve around it with the scissors, like, that's kind of the same thing, I think.
I guess. I don't
Fair.
know. Still freaks me out. All right. Do either of you have any other things you want to mention before we wrap up?
Shout out Bucky Barnes. Nice
Yes.
Sebastian Stan appearance in this movie.
Yep. That
That's all I
it?
got. That's it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move into our top four. Very
Whoa.
anticipated.
Oh, recommendations?
Yeah.
No, fine. Recommendations. I always forget. Ben, what are your TV recommendations this week?
Well, this made me think of a movie, which I'm curious if Geoff will mention. So I'm not going to say it. I'll let Geoff go because he's our movie guy. But there are two ballet-themed TV shows, both by the same creator, by Amy Sherman Palladino and Daniel Palladino, who did most famously Gilmore Girls and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. They also had two failed ballet shows. One was Bunheads and one was Etoile. Bunheads I never watched, but I know it has its fans. Etoile just aired on Prime Video this past spring and I did watch the entire first and only season, because it was renewed for a second season, then got canceled after it premiered. So did not do well, but it's about the New York Theater Ballet Company, whatever, and the Paris Ballet Company are both struggling, and so they swap some of their dancers as like a publicity stunt for both ballet companies, and it's the dynamics of the two different companies dealing with that. I love Mrs. Maisel, so I was all in on giving this a try. It stars Luke Kirby, who was in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I was pretty disappointed by it. It was very visually impressive, very technically. They had some strong ballet scenes. They had it just very, if you know the Palladinos from Maisel, like they are very good visual storytellers, but the quirkiness that was charming in Maisel was annoying in this one. So I can't say I recommend it, but if ballet is your thing, there's two different Sherman Palladino shows you can dig your toes into.
All right. Thank you. Side
I
note,
like that.
you can't see it. I have a hangnail right now.
Uh-oh.
And
No.
I just like picked at it and it like started to bleed. I was like, no.
Live on the podcast. Are you sure this isn't a fantasy, babe? And you're
It's not real life.
being driven to madness?
All right, Geoff, what are your movie recommendations this week?
Yeah, so 3 movie recommendations. The first one is a pretty obvious one. If you're tapped into Letterboxd and you're tapped into sort of modern movie culture, Amanda said you should recommend this movie. I think I've recommended this movie before for another movie we've done on our podcast, but I feel like it goes perfectly with this one, and it's Whiplash. Came out in the early 2010s, directed by Damien Chazelle, his debut breakthrough movie based on a short film he did, starring Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. The latter of the two won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for that movie. It is a bona fide masterpiece, and it is also about an incredibly toxic director driving a student to the point of madness and the effort of perfection. Now, granted, that movie the director is more prominent than Black Swans is, and that director is more emotionally abusive and less sexually abusive. But it is a gripping movie, compelling movie, and some of the best last 10 to 15 minutes of a movie you'll ever see. The final shot of this movie is so good when you look into J.K. Simmons' eyes at the end of this movie. It is amazing. Number 2 is a very old movie from the 40s. It's called The Red Shoes. It is directed by Paulin Pressburger, an English movie, and it is about a ballet called The Red Shoes, and the star of that ballet and sort of the drama that goes around the ballet company, if you will, the dance company, and the director wanting this star all to himself, and she goes off and marries someone else, and it is amazing. For being a movie from the 40s, it looks strangely modern, and there is a dance sequence in that movie, probably at the final first act of the movie, closer to the halfway point. There is a 10 to 15 minute dance sequence, the actual ballet of the Red Shoes, that is so extraordinary and so incredible and looks so stunning that I easily was like, man, that could have been made like 40 years later after this, and it was made in like 1948. So it's amazing. Martin Scorsese has it as one of his favorite movies of all time, if you're curious. So definitely
It was
check out
also turned into a short-lived musical in the 90s.
Was it really?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Short-lived, unfortunately. I'm sure it was not a raging success.
Five
Sadly.
performances.
Oh, yeah.
Very
yikes.
short-lived.
Very short-lived. And the third one is the combination of dance and horror, and that would be Suspiria, either the 1977 Dario Argento Italian movie or the 2018 Luca Guadagnino Italian English movie. And it's about a young girl joining a dance troupe where the leader of it is probably definitely part of something more sinister. So those are my three movie recommendations. I assume I did not list the movie that you thought of, Ben.
You did not.
Okay.
The one I thought of, well, I have not seen the movie, but I've seen the musical, is Sunset Boulevard.
Yes. That's a good one.
With kind of the descent into madness based on it's an older, it's got a different, it'd be like if it was more focused on Winona Ryder's character, I think.
Right.
But the whole kind of descent into madness based on the performing arts and the pressures of glory.
That's a really good comp. And I didn't necessarily think of it, probably A, because I was so wrapped up in dance, and B, because the movie doesn't necessarily feature a sort of a young starlet rising in her career, but as someone who's maybe past her prime and past her age. So, but either way, that is a fantastic comp and it absolutely bridges on those sort of supernatural sort of feelings and true depictions of madness. So that's a good comp, Ben. Throw that one in there too. That's a fourth.
Great. Well, thank you. All right. So now we can move into our top four highly anticipated top four birds. Now, I don't know. We didn't necessarily say favorite. So I guess just top four birds in general.
Did you stick with kinds of birds or did you go with like fictional birds?
You're going to have to see.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll wait till it's my turn.
I was going to say we did not specify.
Yeah.
So I think any kind of bird is on the table.
Okay. I wish I had thought that through. I wonder if that would change my list.
Because the bird is the word. I said bird.
Yeah.
Bird
or
is
like the funky chicken.
Yeah.
Or Conrad Birdie.
Yeah. There you go. Not a
Hey,
real
musical
bird.
theater person.
Now I'm thinking of all these things I could have done.
Not a real bird. All right, Geoff, why don't you go first tonight?
Fine. All right. I have two honorable mentions. I have the bald eagle, which I feel is sacrilegious in putting as my honorable mention. And I have the crow, specifically a crow from The Crows Have Eyes 2, The Crowing. Number 4 would be The Ugly Duckling. A cute story that we referenced in our episode of Lilo and Stitch. And about a young duckling finding his family. Or his newfound family. So cute. Number 3 is Big Bird. Shout out Sesame Street. We all love ourselves a nice, friendly, neighborhood, monstrous bird who's just really nice and helps us with our ABCs and our 1, 2, 3s and everything. I haven't watched an episode of Sesame Street in a minute, so apologies if that's not what Big Bird does anymore. Number 2
Big Bird just pushes his woke agenda.
That's why it's getting shut down.
We're joking.
Love PBS.
Number 2 is Freebird. Shout out Leonard Skinner. You don't recommend that movie or don't recommend that song whenever you request like a band to play something, because I know it's like a pain in the butt, that solo, but nothing felt more empowering as a young child, teenager, than nailing Freebird at the end of the campaign of Guitar Hero 2. When you got to that sort of final boss, you felt like $1,000,000. And then lastly is an actual bird, I promise. Lastly is my number 1 is the peregrine falcon. It's just a sick bird. It's one of those birds, when I heard about it, I was like, man, this thing is cool. Flies super fast, bird of prey. It looks cool. Yeah. So sadly, I did not have the bald eagle on my list, but I did have an actual bird, I promise. Peregrine falcon, number 1.
It's because you hate America.
No, not true.
Well, Good list.
If we had to actually have like if I did an actual bird list of like actual real life birds, bald eagle, yes, would be in the top 4. I promise.
All right, Ben. Hit us with your bird list.
We should have talked because I did do actual birds, and I was like, and I don't really even care about birds, but I was like, all these cool birds.
I've done this for a few lists now,
And now I'm like, oh, I wish I put Big Bird. I wish I had put Conrad Birdie. I wish I had put Chicken Wings.
Do you want me to go?
No, I'm
And-
just gonna say them now because I'm not gonna relist it. So I wish I had put Akko. Anyway, I did real birds because I thought that's what we were doing, and I didn't clarify. I didn't seek to clarify, so it's partly on me. But I don't actually really care much about birds, but I was able to come up with a list. So my honorable mentions are the cardinal, the parrot, and the mockingbird.
Okay.
There we go. Number 4. Number 4, peacock, and not just the streaming service. But
I was about to say, shout out to the
not
streaming
just
service.
Mrs. Peacock from the game of Clue, but
Or the movie Clue.
or the movie Clue, but the bird itself, which is quite majestic. Number 3, bald eagle, as Geoff mentioned, because America, and it's cool when you see one. Number 2, bluebirds, way better than blue jays as far as I'm concerned. Much more vibrant looking, much more pretty blue. Blue jays all the time, but when you actually see a bluebird, that's pretty cool. And number 1, penguins.
Penguins are cool.
Because they're cool.
Penguins are cool.
And
They are cool, man. Good
I
list.
like when they slide on their bellies and stuff. And when I was in 3rd grade, I played Mr. Popper in a class play of Mr. Popper's Penguins.
There you go.
Nice.
It's a good list.
That is a
So
good
there's
list.
my birds.
All right, so I also went with fictional birds. Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, we need to talk.
That adds to the beauty of it. We all have 3
Now,
different
but
kinds
these
of
could have been
lists.
2 separate lists. Then when we did the birds, the Alfred Hitchcock film, we could have done one or the other.
Oh, that's fair. That one could just be like top 4 birds you don't want to get killed by. I don't know. I've actually never seen the birds. I should.
All right, so I have 2 honorable mentions. They are Iago, as you
Oh, there
said,
we go.
Ben, and Toucan Sam, because
Oh yeah.
love me some Fruit Loops. My number 4 is Kevin from the movie Up. I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
he's supposed to be a peacock-esque type bird. I don't know. I love him. I got to meet him in Disney. He loved my Mickey ears and he came over to me and he was like, I don't know how to describe it. He was like shaking. He was really excited and he came up and he let me hug him and he felt very weird, but I love him. My number 3 is Scuttle because he's an idiot,
yeah.
but I love him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love his terrible singing during Kiss the Girl when he's just screeching and lying to Ariel about what stuff is called. I love him.
Stupidly on brand.
My number 2 is Donald Duck. I used to not like him that much when I was a kid, but I definitely appreciate him more as an adult. He's just a little salty and I appreciate his attitude. And then number 1 is Hedwig from Harry Potter.
That's a good bird.
Because, yeah, she was the best bird and she did not deserve the fate she got. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Speaking of owls, the worst bird has to be Owl from Winnie the Pooh. What an annoying
Dude
stick up the ass
sucks.
bird.
Sucks.
Like, come on. Like, just he's the only
Ooh.
Winnie the Pooh character I don't really care for.
You know what's funny? In one of my favorite video games of all time, Kingdom Hearts, which is a crossover of Disney and Final Fantasy, you can go play in the Winnie the Pooh storybook world, and Owl acts like a narrator during it, and yeah, he's
Yeah, Owl's
like, he
insufferable.
doesn't actually do anything.
My son has watched New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and
Oh, cute.
he's real annoying in it.
I believe it.
That's funny. Boo, Owl. All right. Well, that wraps up our episode of Black Swan. If you'd like to watch along with us next week, we'll be watching.
The MTV Movie Award winning Twilight.
Yes, as already mentioned in this episode, it is fall season, and y'all know what that means. It's time for Twilight. So buckle in, kids, because we can't wait to talk about this one with Ben.
Can't wait.
Very
I'm so
curious to
excited.
see where this lands. I have some guesses.
It'll be just like when we did Cats.
And I don't want you to say this now. I don't want you to reveal this. Genuinely don't know if you like love Twilight or like love to hate it. So don't share with me how you
I
feel.
applaud Amanda for her poker face on this.
Because I don't actually know. I don't actually know if you're like a true Twilight fan or if you're just like not a true Twilight. I'm curious. We'll find out next week.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review and follow us on all our social channels. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.